الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى قيوم يوم الدين. One of the invalidators of fasting is if a person ascribes a lie to Allah and His Prophet. If a person who is observing fast intentionally ascribes something false to Allah and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his vicegerents, the Imams, verbally or in writing or making a sign, his fast becomes void. So if somebody knows that the Prophet didn't say something, or the Imam didn't say something, or Allah, they attribute a lie to Allah intentionally, like they say, Allah says, they make up a hadith. They say if you eat, I don't know, if you eat a lot of iftar, you're going to go to heaven. There's a narration, na'udhu billah. Like they make a hadith up to the Prophet. If they say it on purpose, it will make their fast void, even if they retract it later on. Say, I was joking. If you joke in a way that everybody understands you're joking, that's different. But without any context, you tell them in a way that everybody believes it, then your fast becomes void. Now, what about things that we have no authority, or things that we do not know is true or false? Those things, as a matter of precaution, we shouldn't ascribe to the Prophet and the Imams. They say that you should relate it and give the reference. Say, in this book it says this. I remember in coffee it says this. You don't say Imam as-Sadiq says this. Say it's been narrated, it's been recorded, it's in this book. So those that we're not sure those narrations, you can resolve it this way, so that we can learn our ahkam and practice it, give a salawat. We were talking about the month of Ramadan, and we were saying that there were opportunities in this month. The first opportunity that we mentioned, we talked about yesterday, was about how the month of Ramadan strengthens our willpower. It makes us strong. And we said that this is the core of not sinning, is being strong and fighting against your hawaii nafs, what your nafs, your desires, what you want that are evil, and you fight against it. And after the month of Ramadan, you'll become very strong, and therefore your taqwa and not sinning will become very strong. The second thing we mentioned is it's a time to reconnect to God. We might throughout the year have distanced ourselves from He who has created us, He who has sustained us, and therefore we're aligning ourselves with Allah again. One of the important things to remember, and that I mentioned this yesterday, but I'd like to elaborate tonight, and that is that we have ni'mah and blessings and rewards from Allah that is showering upon us in this month and always, but especially in this month. And we said yesterday that if a person wants to benefit from Allah, from the mercy of Allah, from the benefits of Allah, he has to increase his dharfiyat, his capacity. Because it's all the same, it's raining the same for everybody, but some people will collect more, some will collect less. One of the best ways to increase ourselves, to increase our capacity, is to be grateful. This is what I would like to spend some time tonight talking about, is being grateful. This is the key that will cause you to increase so that you can hold more. A lot of times, the mercies and bounties of Allah come to us, but we have a limit and it gets filled up, and that's it. The next stage is to increase our wujud, our existence, our dharfiyat. There's a beautiful narration from Imam Kadhim alayhi salam. It's in the book Al-Kafi. He says, Man hamid Allah ala ni'ma faqad shakara. Whoever has praised Allah for a ni'mah or blessing, he has thanked Him, he has been grateful. But this is the line that I want to tell you, brothers and sisters. وَكَانَ الْحَمْدِ أَفْضَلَ مِنْ تِلْكَ النِّعْمَةِ. But hamd and being grateful is better than the ni'mat itself, is better than the reward itself, better than the grace itself. What does this mean? See, brothers and sisters, when we get blessings from Allah and everything we have is either a physical or a spiritual blessing, it's all from Allah. Everything we have is from Allah, right? So these blessings that we have from Allah, they come to us with a goal, with a purpose, or no, they're random. Which one? Are they random? Whoever Allah wants to give, He'll give a ni'mat to? Or are they with a purpose and with a goal? Of course, Allah is Hakim, He has goals. He gives us these blessings, either physical or spiritual, so that it can be a ladder. It can be a ladder, and we can use this blessing, this ni'mat, to spend it in the way of Allah and to get close to Him. That's the purpose of a blessing, right? And the problem is, people, if they don't have this dharfiyah, this capacity for these blessings, it will have a negative effect on them. So Allah is very, very careful and very daqiq and accurate on who He'll give money to, who He will not give money to, who He'll give health to, who He'll not give health to. Because all of this has a final purpose, and that final purpose is to be spent towards Allah. So to understand this narration, it says that being grateful for that benefit, being grateful for that reward is higher than the ni'mat itself, being grateful. So if Allah gives you, for example, a good wife, a good husband, kids, everything, a beautiful life, then you say, thank you, Allah. And you thank Allah through your tongue, through your mind, and through your action. That thanking God, that being grateful is greater than all these other ni'mats. So one of the entire purpose of all these ni'mats is that so you can be part of the shakirin, you can be grateful. And many times we will notice if people don't have that capacity to get these blessings, right? Allah will stop there. They won't be grateful, and Allah will not give them any more blessings. How we mentioned about indigestion. When we eat something ourselves and we don't truly digest it, does it make sense to get more food? And to get more food, we'll get a stomachache or have a negative effect. Ni'mah and blessings of Allah are the same way. If we don't appreciate it, we don't count it, we don't use it in the way of Allah, if we get more, it'll be indigestion. It will become niqmah. It will become a curse for us. Right? So the entire purpose is these blessings that we have to count them and spend them in the way of Allah. Allah has given us honor, right? Some more, some less. Some are very honorable in the community. So you should spend your honor. Do shukr of it. Shukr of it and being grateful of it is spending your honor. When you see two people, they might be separating from each other and they can use your guidance. You come in and you give them advice if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, then don't do it. But if you have the experience, you help them, you counsel them, and you spend your honor, and then you have done shukr of your honor. Allah will give you more honor. If you have money, right? You thank Allah, you count it, not count your money, but you remember that it is from Allah, then you spend it in the way of Allah. If you don't spend it, on the day of judgment, that money will come to you and say, where's my haqq? What did you do with me? So ni'mats can be turned into niqmah. Blessings can be turned into curses if they're not distributed or used in the appropriate manner, which is called shukr. Shukr and gratefulness means to think of a ni'mat and to use it in the right way. One of the ulama that we are indebted to, that has compiled one of the biggest narrations, books of narrations or collection of narrations by the name of Bihar al-Anwar, seas, oceans of light, is around 110 volumes of hadith, is Allama Majlisi. Allama Majlisi lived an affluent life. He lived a rich life. Not necessarily rich in the manner that he lived like a king, no, but amongst the other students, he lived a good life when the students were a little bit more poor, right? When the ulama were a little bit more poor. One of his students, who is Sayyid Ni'matullah Jazairi, he helped the Allama to collect these books and to write them and help them out a lot. He was one of his best students, Allama Majlisi. He behind his head would ask, how come Allama Majlisi is living such an affluent and easy lifestyle? So he asked his teacher, he says, why do you live like this? His teacher says that if you knew my private affairs, I actually live very simply. But apparently, because he was with the kings and he would advise the kings, right? And one of the facts that we had the kings of Iran, some of them were Sufi and Darwish, and they didn't their influence wasn't allowed to make Iran Sufis, was because of Allama Majlisi and some of the ulama that played that role of helping making the country more Shia, but also taking away some of the Irfani and Sufi aspects that the kings of Iran had. So he had this lifestyle that was rich. So his student, Allama Majlisi tells his student, let's make a deal. Whoever dies first, come to the dream of the other one and tell him who's better. Is your lifestyle with what you did with money is better, or with what I did with money is better? Allama al-Majlisi was a little bit older. He died first. He comes to the dream of Sayyid Ni'matullah Jazairi. He sees him and he sees Allama Majlisi in a very, very high status, a very, very good status. And he comes to his teacher and says, is this your knowledge? Because Allama Majlisi spent a lot of time researching and finding the narrations of the Ahlul Bayt. They're all over the world. He says, this because of your knowledge? He says that no, this isn't because of my knowledge. Remember, brothers and sisters, there are marahil in the hereafter. There are stages where they'll ask you about knowledge. There'll be a stage where they ask you about your money. There'll be a stage, there's different marahil in different stages. He said that the stage of knowledge, I haven't reached it yet. This is because of my money that I'm here, what I did with my money. And he gives him this story, what happened in the dream. He tells him this. He says that once I was walking, and I see my neighbor, and my neighbor was in debt. He had financial problems. And other people had gathered around my neighbor, Allama Majlisi is saying. The debt collectors, they needed their money. And he kept telling them, be quiet, okay, I'll give you your money, I promise. Don't raise your voices. You know, I have a reputation in the city, the neighbor's saying. Don't ruin my honor. Don't ruin my reputation. It's important for me. They said, no. They kept raising their voice. They're ruining his reputation. Give us our money now. Allama Majlisi comes up and says, what do you guys want? He says, we want our money. He says, come to my house. They come to their house. Allama Majlisi pays all of them in cash. Here you go. This is your money. Then he tells his neighbor, he says that you can pay me whenever you have money. Whenever you have money to pay me back. There's no rush. The person begins to cry almost. He begins to cry and do dua. Basically, as in tears, he's very sad. He says that may Allah, he prays for him, says, say, may Allah help you, may Allah protect you, because you have helped my honor. You have saved my honor. So this ni'mat that Allama Majlisi had, which is money, he spent it in the right way, and in the akhirat, Allama Majlisi had a very high status. So this is called shukr, or being grateful. It doesn't only mean saying, Alhamdulillah, I have money this year. Alhamdulillah. Then someone comes and asks you for money, you say, no, not to me, go to the sheikh, ask the sheikh. It's about physical and actually helping them. And once you use that in the correct method, for example, somebody has energy, has time, is young, he spends that in the correct manner. This is called being grateful. It's not just from the tongue, it's with the actions too. So tonight, brothers and sisters, we want to talk about being grateful, because it's interesting. In the Quran, one of the ayahs of the Quran, as if God is complaining, he's complaining about his creation. It's the famous ayah, وَقَلِيلٌ مِّنْ عِبَادِيَ الشُّكُورِ. And few of my servants are grateful. As if he's complaining. So if you want to be one of those that are few and want to be part of the shakur, the grateful ones, there are 3 stages, 3 steps to becoming grateful. And if we become grateful, we said what happens? We increase our dharfiyat, our capacity. Then more ni'mat can come. Until we don't increase our capacity, the ni'mats can either be ni'mats for us or they won't come, they'll stop coming, right? So you have to use these blessings that Allah gives, you use in the right way, then more will come, right? لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ, I will increase you, the Quran says, in shakartum. If you're grateful, if you're thankful, I will raise you. The Quran doesn't say I will increase your ni'mat, I will raise you. Yourself, you will be raised, right? I'll increase you. The first stage, and we mentioned this a little bit yesterday, is that a person counts and watches and is cautious about the blessings that he has. He observes. He isn't somebody that doesn't see. He isn't blind to what Allah gives him. He counts. Over and over and over, he counts every day. And in this, the Quran says you can't, it's countless, the favors that he gave us. It takes a very pure heart to do this, to be grateful, right? If a person has a very polluted heart, he won't be able to see the blessings of Allah. Some of the ulama, like Ayatollah Araki, he would count some of the blessings of Allah that if me and you were to hear, we would start laughing. Like, he would count these. He was an old marja, he was maybe 100 and something years old. He would count the blessings of Allah. For example, he would say, what if Allah put our eyebrows under here? Something like this. He would say, what if Allah did this? Like how ugly we would be. Then you'd thank Allah, he would start crying. So what if Allah made all our fingers equal? We couldn't pick anything up. We couldn't open our buttons, unbutton our shirts, for example. And you start crying. So it takes a very dharif and latif heart to count about your physical blessings, your spiritual blessings. One of the blessings you have right now is you have a center, right? Some Shia, some Muslimin in the world, they don't even have a center to go to. They don't have anywhere to go to. They have to somehow find something online, find a video online, or find something to go to online, if they have internet there. Just the fact you have a center, you have majalis every night. Just the fact you have each other. These are big blessings. Your health. And we mentioned these yesterday. I don't want to get into it. Your health, security, right? And we said, how do you notice a blessing? When someone takes it away from you. That's how humans are. When we have it, we don't notice it. But when it's taken away, we say, oh, shoot. That was a good brother. May Allah have rahmat on him. He was a good brother. You don't remember him. You don't acknowledge the fact that he's such a great brother and spend time with him, right? So our ni'mats are like this, or health, of course. Once he gets a toothache, then he'll notice, oh, how great my health was. So the first stage in being a shakir, a grateful person, is somebody that counts the blessings of Allah. He counts them over and over, and it's fresh in his mind. He's not ungrateful. Allah doesn't want you to be ungrateful. If you don't see it, if you don't see his blessings, he may stop giving it to you. The second is that this world is a world of cause and effect. Right? This is how Allah designed this world. If you want to work and you want money, you want rizq, does it just appear from the air? Does it fall down from an airplane? Gold coins? No. You have to get an education. You have to work, apply for a job, you work. Your employee needs to have a good credit, get his checks passed. So it goes into your bank account. You go shopping with it and you get money. It's a world of sabab and asbab. It's a world of cause and effect. And it's very natural and it's very beautiful the way Allah has programmed things. Or for example, you go to a doctor, you're sick, you have to take the medication, you go to the doctor, you listen to it and you become good. But the key point here is not to negate the mediums. There's many mediums where it takes for you to get full, to get your rizq, to become cured, or to get knowledge. You have to go to university, you have to attend classes. Not to not be grateful with the mediums, but to see all these from Allah. As if it's like a mirror. It's just a mirror. The essence is something else. If you see a mirror and you crack it, it's nothing, right? All of this is like a mirror. All of it is coming from Allah, and we call this Tawheedul Af'al. Every action is happening from Allah, right? Therefore, you should be grateful to your teacher. But who is Al-Alim? It's Allah. Who is ilm? Who is knowledge? It's Allah. So all this, even though you studied hard and you had a good teacher and you took good notes, it goes back to Allah. And that is the second stage. So the first was counting these blessings. The second was everything that happens from your health, from your knowledge, from whatever happens to you, you see it from Allah. Right? And that is the second stage. Let's give a salawat. One of the worshippers of Bani Israel, the Jews, had people that worshipped Allah a lot. And they were into mysticism and into worshiping Allah and falling in love with Allah. They had people like this. There is this one worshipper of Allah, an Abid. For 60, 70 years, he worshipped God. The angels noticed they didn't really like him too much. He wasn't really, when you worship Allah for 70 years, you should be full of light. The angels should like you. He wasn't that nurani, as we say, as full of nur. So Allah asked the angels, and the stories I gave you, they're not all exact word for word. I'm trying to allow me to be a little bit free how I describe these stories. So the angels asked Allah, and Allah, to show the angels why he's like this, he says, tell him something. Tell this worshiper something. Tell him that Allah today has decided to treat you with his fadl. Fadl means grace, with his grace. He doesn't want to treat you with his adl, with his justice. Allah wants to treat you with his fadl, his grace. He doesn't want to zoom in and be very strict on examining your actions in a very justful manner. So the angels come and they tell this person this. We have good news for you. Allah wants to treat you with his fadl. Imagine, brothers and sisters, we would be very happy. This is our nightmare, is that Allah will treat us with his adl, his justice. If Allah treats us with his justice, 99.9% of humans would fail. It's a reality. Only the 14 infallibles. To show you how bad it is, sometimes we think that what we do, it's justice for us to go into heaven. We deserve it now. It's not. This isn't what we deserve. Look at the story of Prophet Yunus. This is a story that we read in Salatul Qufayla, between Maghrib and Isha. Do you know this salat? Right? وَظَنُّونَ إِذْ ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا. Right? So who's Dhannun? What does Dhannun mean in Arabic? The man of the fish. Prophet Yunus was stuck in the stomach of a fish. Why? What did he do? Dhannun did this. وَظَنُّونَ إِذْ ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا فَظَنَّ أَنْ لَنْ تَقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ فَنَادَى فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ. He thought that the punishment of Allah was coming to his people. He just went a little bit earlier. He was supposed to stay there to observe the punishment. He wasn't going to be punished. He just left earlier upset. مُغَاضِبًا. غضب. He was upset. He left. This is called tark al-awla. It's not a sin. He just left early. He was going to leave no matter what. He just left a little bit earlier. He still did a good deed, but he didn't do the best deed. Because of this tark al-awla, I'm talking about the adl and justice of Allah. The Quran says, فَلَوْلَا أَنَّهُ كَانَ مِنَ الْمُسَبِّحِينَ. And if he was not one of those that did tasbih and do istighfar and forgive, because there's dhikr yunasiyah, they said, Subhanaka, Subhanaka inni kuntu min al-dhalameen. This dhikr yunasiyah, which a lot of the urafa say it's a very strong dhikr yunasiyah. Subhanaka inni kuntu min al-dhalameen. So it wasn't for this tasbih and this dhikr, it says, لَلَبِثَ فِي بَطْنِهِ إِلَى يَوْمِ الْيُبْعَثُونَ. Until the day of judgment, he would have stayed in the stomach of this fish. This is the Quran. This is a story that's in the Quran, and we accept the Quran. My question is this: would it have been unjust for Allah to have him stay in the stomach of the fish? Allah doesn't do injustice, no. If he stayed in the stomach of the fish forever, it would have been adl, would have been justice. But if when he shows his fadl, and because of this dhikr, he frees him, he's now showing his grace. So you brothers and sisters, the adl of Allah and how things really are, If Allah were to treat us with His justice, and of course this is Prophet Yunus, maybe Allah didn't accept this from such a high prophet. Because once somebody reaches a higher stage of ma'rifah and understanding, Allah expects more from them. We've seen some of the urafa in our times. One of them, he was once walking and he had a makruh thought, a discouraged thought in his brain. Then a donkey came or a horse came, was passing horses, and came to kick him, but didn't hit him. The wind just hit him. He says, Allah, oh Allah, I didn't do anything bad. I just thought about something bad. And somehow he finds it, and they say, we didn't hit you either. The air just hit you. Right? So these are high levels. When somebody reaches a very high level, Allah will watch them, will be observant. He doesn't expect for them to do such a thing, even a thought sometimes. And this prophet to leave earlier. So we were talking about the story with this person who was from the Bani Israel. He was a worshipper. And what happens to him? Allah tells him, the angels say, good news. You're going to be treated with the grace of Allah, not with the justice. And I just explained to you what the justice of Allah is. It means our actions compared to the actions of Imam Ali. It would be zero. But this person was arrogant. This is unfortunately one of the things that worship brings, is arrogance sometimes. It might be the 19th, the 21st, 23rd. I'm talking to myself. I might in the back of my head or my heart say, oh, I've worshipped Allah for 3 nights. I feel good now. And sometimes in the 24th and 25th, our energy levels go down for worship. I'm tired because Allah, I've worshipped you already. My sins are forgiven already. You think, and this is what will cause us to reach disaster. It's once you start thinking like this, oh Allah, I have done this. No. Allah has allowed it. Allah has given it to us. We should thank Him even more. Our energy should be even going higher even, because Allah has given us this permission to talk to Him. So this person, they say, the angels come down, Allah wants to give you His grace, not His justice. He says, no, I don't want it. I treat me with Allah's justice, he says. Treat me with His adl. And he says, all Allah gave me, these are things that we should be careful of. All Allah gave me is water and pomegranates, anar, roman. He just gave me water and pomegranates. He didn't give me any food. Let Him just judge me. I've worshipped Him for 70 years and just got water and fruit. That's it. Let him judge me with His adl. So the angels judge him, and they count in the way that Allah is very, very daqiq and accurate. He counts. He compares it to Mizan al-A'mal, to Imam Ali alayhi salam. At the end, they count, and how much did 70 years of worship? And Allah tells him in this story, He says, okay. Imagine we didn't give him anything else. His life, his prayer, everything is from Allah. They're all a gift. Imagine we only count to Him, even it's still fadl. Just count to Him, imagine the only blessings we gave Him was bread and fruit, pomegranate. That's it. That's the only blessings we gave Him. Let's see if it's equal. They counted, and it's equal to a little section of one pomegranate. 70 years of worship. And they ask Him, okay, this is one pomegranate. How about the other pomegranates you got your entire life? How about all the bread you got? So this is the adl of Allah. This is saying that ni'mat that I have is from Allah. Whatever I have in terms of blessings, I see it from Allah. I don't see it for myself. That 70 years of prayer, the moral in the story is he saw it from himself. And he wanted to be, and he was very proud of himself and his actions. He didn't see his prayers from Allah, his salat, his fasting from Allah. So that's the second stage, brothers and sisters, is that we count and we see things as a mirror. There's sabab and musabbab, and it's all as a mirror, and it's all from Allah. We look at it as a muwahhid should look. That it all basically tawheed al-af'ali means is every harakat and every fi'l, every harakat and action is sadirun min Allah, is from Allah. The third, brothers and sisters, please give a salawat. third stage in being a shakir and being somebody that is grateful for Allah is at the end. You see all the blessings of Allah and you count them all if you can. We can't count them all. And then we know they are from Allah, they're not from ourselves. The third, at the end, we don't see ourselves as anything. We don't become full of pride. Right? This is one of the problems, as I mentioned, about worship, is that you get ujb. There's some narrations that says, if it wasn't for ujb, if it wasn't for the believers being very overconfident in themselves, we would not allow them to sin. Some of the reasons why believers sin is because Allah doesn't want them to get arrogant. And if they get arrogant, they're going to crash. Right? Look at the lives of our imams. Look at the du'as we read in the nights before. The imams count themselves as sinners. My hands that have sinned. Look at munajat of Imam Ali, Masjid al-Kufa. أنت الغني وأنا الفقير. You're a ghani, you don't have any need. I am faqir. Now Imam Ali is saying, he's Amir al-Mu'mineen, the spiritual, the oj, the peak of spirituality. He's saying, I'm faqir right now. I'm nothing. So this, if you're on this track, you know that your spirituality is correct. That at the end you become very, very humble. That everything you do, it's from Allah and you see yourself as nothing. Shaykh Abbas Qawmi, he was very humble. He compiled Mafatihul Janan, which we read. Once his dad was yelling at him. And he says, why don't you go and learn from this shaykh? Why don't you go from him? He's teaching from this book. Go and learn it. And Shaykh Abbas Qawmi, he thought himself as nothing. He wrote that book that shaykh is talking about. He was the writer. He didn't tell his dad. He was the author. He says, in Farsi, chash, I'll go and listen. He's going to listen to a speech that's giving commentary on his own book. That means to treat yourself as nothing, right? And that is how our imams were, and that is how they viewed themselves, as absolutely nothing. And if we reach that stage, we know that we're part of the shakirin. Then our capacity, our dharfiyat will increase. Then Allah will shower upon you ni'mats, and you'll increase and go higher and higher. As long as you count them, you see them, and you know they're from Allah, and at the end, you view yourself as nothing. Right? Other benefits in the month of Ramadan that we have. So this was reconnecting to Allah. I'll mention one or two more and then we'll end it, inshallah. Another benefit of this great month, and we were talking about this, was it is a time to schedule. It's a time of organization. It's teaching us to be organized. It's teaching us time management. This is one of the big problems that we have. We don't know how to manage our time at work, at home, at study, when we do ibadat. Somebody can reach everything. And we talked about this yesterday, that look at, you're coming to the masjid tonight, you're going to go to work, or you're going to do your obligations, and you have organized your time, because the month of Ramadan is about being exact, about suhoor, fajr, about maghrib, about being exact and precise about your time. And we mentioned about the narrations about how we should manage our time with worship, with our friends. One of the important things that, brothers and sisters, I recommend, and I say this to myself, is to put time, when we talk about scheduling, to put time in researching and studying Islam. It's not just, it's good to go to the majalis and listen to speeches. It's good. But a person should not separate himself from the books. Al-ilmu yahtifu bil-amal, if I say it correctly. Knowledge calls action. If a person increases his knowledge and studies, his actions will be increased. And some narrations that says that ignorant people have broken the back of the 12th Imam, Imam Mahdi. Ignorance. And then we said this is one of the problems of the Khawarij, of Ibn Muljam. They were ignorant. They were misguided. So studying, the more you study in terms of aqaid beliefs, your Islamic law. Some of the books, some of our ilm and ulum is wajib. Some of it is an obligation to study. If we don't study, that knowledge itself will be a sin, we will deserve punishment. For example, if I'm going to fast and I don't study the laws of fasting and then I break a invalidator of fast because I didn't know about it, but I could have known about it, then I will be punished. So some types of ignorance is not all types of ignorance will be forgiven. Some types of ignorance, if it's from us and we had the capability to study. The other part of knowledge is about our beliefs. You cannot do taqleed in your beliefs. You can't do follow somebody in your beliefs. It has to come from yourself and from your own research. It has to come from certainty. When it comes to aqaid, shak is our enemy. True, it's okay to have doubt, and then you research it, and then you get yaqeen. But we should be certain, and we should be strong with knowledge. Our ulama has spent a lot of times, not only in Islam, worshipping Allah. A group of people, they say, there's two groups, and the Prophet came to the masjid. A group was busy worshipping, and a group was busy studying and researching. And they asked the Prophet in this story, they asked him, which one is higher, those that are doing the worship of Allah or those that are studying? The Prophet sat down with those that were researching and studying. He says, I have been sent down for them. So it's not a religion of just mafatihul janan and just overdoing dua. It's good. Dua is very good. But at the end, when you're a knowledgeable person, your actions will be much, much worth more. You don't even have to do that much dua. They say one of the stories of Ayatollah Muhammad Baqir Sadr, one of our great personalities that has passed away and was killed and martyred in Iraq. He was a genius. When they came to ask questions about Ayatollah Khoi, there's a story about this. One of the scholars, he came to Najaf to ask Ayatollah Khoi and says, I have 10 questions that Ayatollah Khoi cannot answer. He has 10 problems with the dars and the lessons of Ayatollah Khoi. Ayatollah Khoi, because if he didn't know somebody, he wouldn't answer their questions, he would refer his students. Okay, he told Ayatollah Muhammad Baqir Sadr answer his questions. So these 10 problems and ishqal he had, he goes, first one, Ayatollah Muhammad Baqir Sadr answers. Second one, he answers. Third, fourth, fifth, all 10 questions, he defends Ayatollah Khoi's answers. And he was amazed. He's like, you're his student? So this is Ayatollah Muhammad Baqir Sadr. He's very great. And sometimes in the classes, he would say, Ayatollah Khoi would just say, this, just allow Ayatollah Muhammad, Sayyid Muhammad Baqir Sadr, allow him to ask questions. Sayyid al-Sadr, Shaykh al-Sadr, sometimes he would go to the haram of Imam Ali alayhi salam and sit down and prepare in his mind his lessons. He would sit down and just think about the lessons he would give. This is how much the Ahlul Bayt and how much Allah pays attention on knowledge. He would sit down once a day. After a while, he decided not to do that, not to prepare his lessons in his brain and to think about it in the haram, in the shrine of Imam Ali. He left. One of his relatives or somebody has a dream of Imam Ali alayhi salam and says, tell Sayyid Sadr, come back. I enjoy when he is preparing, when he's thinking of knowledge in the shrine, I enjoy it. This is the inayat, and this is the attention that the Ahlul Bayt give on knowledge. And this is something that we can program. It's not just going to the shrines and just reading the ziyarats. It's good, very good to cry, but also other things. We have other obligations. Knowledge. If a person doesn't have a deep understanding of knowledge, our narrations say that his iman is not complete. His faith is not complete. One of the things that completes faith is at-tafaqquh fi ad-din, a deep understanding of religion. So this is something after in the month of Ramadan, spend time, put time away. Imam Khomeini would tell the students, when they came home, the students, from school, a long day of school and studying, not to go home and just to get the book and you have kids and wife, family, just to be studying all the time. He would say, attend them, give your attention to them at night. Schedule your time. When they fall asleep, then start studying, right? So you can manage everything. You can manage your studies, you can manage your family, your kids, your work. It just takes organization. We can start from tonight or tomorrow. not only have ibadat, worship, have knowledge, and also family obligations and obligations to society. And this is how you become a complete human being. As we said, a complete human being is one that his nose, his ears, his eyebrows, if you imagine, is all equal. An incomplete human being, as Ustad Mutahari compares it, as a person like a cartoon. His nose is too big, his ears are too big, for example. That means he focused too much on worship. He focused too much just on helping people, but he didn't focus on himself. So it's about being balanced with worship, studying, family, all together in completeness. So this is the month of organization and the month of putting together a plan for ourselves this spiritual year that's going to come, and to attend. There's Sunday courses here. There are, in the center, there's also speeches every Thursday, Tuesday. You can be involved with that. And I've seen myself, some of the students here, two people get together and they study. They're reviewing a book of Aqaid and Kalam. I saw they're studying and they ask questions when they're confused. You can get a study partner and study. All this isn't only for the Hawza and only for seminary students. You yourselves can find each other and have study partners, the sisters together, the brothers together. And believe me, that week that you studied, your spirituality will increase much more because your distractions will leave your mind. You'll be thinking about those concepts that you're thinking about, that philosophy, that history, those narrations. If we can dim the lights, inshallah, we're going to tonight take our hearts to Karbala, inshallah. And it is very important to keep this connection with the Ahlul Bayt, to strengthen it in this month. Tonight we want to talk about, if Allah gives us the permission, gives us the blessings, to talk about somebody that when you mention his name, whenever nobody can answer your prayers, and everybody has seen this, even if they're Christian, even if they're Hindu, they've seen this. There's one name in Karbala, when you mention, it gets answered immediately, very fast. That is the name of Hazrat Abbas, Sayyid Abbas, the beloved brother of Imam Hussein. You've all had problems, brothers and sisters. You've all experienced this. When you mention the name of Abbas, Sayyid Abbas, there immediately your question, whatever you have will go away. Imam Hussein alayhi salam had this brother, Amir al-Mu'mineen had this son, Abbas. And you know how the stories are, that when they told his mother, al-Baneen, that your sons have been killed in Karbala, she didn't ask who, which ones exactly, what happened. al-Baneen, the mother of Abbas, said this, said, is Hussein okay? What happened to Hussein? She was thinking about Imam Hussein more than her own sons. So Hazrat Abbas is the king of manners. If anybody wants to learn manners, how to be ba'adab or mu'addab to Imam Hussein, learn it from Abbas. He is the king of manners. He's the king, the leader of loyalty. If somebody wants to see how a loyal companion should be, to go to the Furat for the children of Imam Hussein, to bring them water and to reach water, but not to drink it yourself, because you remember the thirst of your master, Imam Hussein. You remember the thirst of the children of Imam Hussein. He is the general of Karbala. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, imagine, even though it's a battle, he's telling him, don't go, beautiful moon of the Bani Hashim, the Qamar of the Bani Hashim. There's waves, there's axes, there's arrows being showered upon Abbas in Karbala. They're descending. He says, thirsty for you, thirsty for the Furat is Abbas. Thirsty for his brother is Abbas. Your pure heart, after you became martyred, Imam Hussein, as if he's saying, your pure heart scorched the heart of the children. The children, the 20, the 30 children that are in Karbala, the tiny children, their heart became inflamed. It set their heart on fire after Abbas was martyred. It is the time of farewell. Imam Hussein wants to say farewell to his brother Abbas. You are the witness, O Allah, Imam Hussein is saying, my grief. The dreams of al-Banin came true when Abbas was martyred. Her dream was that her sons can become a martyr for Imam Hussein. Abbas, we say to you that you, just like your father, you were struck on the head, just like your father Amir al-Mu'mineen. You struck on the on your forehead. You were stricken on your head, and you fell. And you fell on the dirt, just like your real mother, Sayyidah Fatima. Just how she fell on the dirt, Abbas fell on the dirt. Uttering Hazrat Abbas, what did he say when he fell off his horse? Imagine him saying, Ya Haydar, mentioning his name, the name of his father, Ali alayhi salam. His face is pale now. They're striking him. They're hitting Abbas. His face is pale. He is breathing the last. Imam Hussein comes to his brother. He says, oh brother, come and save your brother Abbas. It is the time for farewell. Imam Hussein is saying to his brother Abbas, he says, قال الحسين عليه السلام, after Abbas had become martyred and left this world, Al-Abbas, Al-an inkasara dhahri. You have broken the back of Imam Hussein. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيِّ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ. And they who act unjustly shall know to what final place of turning they shall turn back. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Ya Allah, we ask you, because of the honor of the great martyr of Karbala, Abbas, give us, inshallah, make us part of the Shakirin, those that are grateful of Allah. Keep us away and don't make us part of those that are ungrateful and that don't remember Allah. Those that are sick because of Abbas, cure their sickness right now. Those that have problems in this majalis, and the family members of us that have problems in the Muslim world that need help, because of the honor of Abbas, remove their problems, their affliction. Those family members of us that have passed away, and the Muslims in the world that have passed away, give them maghfirat and rahmah, inshallah. May Allah accept our fast. May Allah accept our prayers. May Allah accept our majalis. Those that helped out in this majlis, those that provided the food, those that provided tea, anything, those that set up the chairs, those that will vacuum. May Allah give them honor and make them part of the Shakirin, inshallah. Ya Allah, make us remember our 12th Imam. Just how Hazrat Abbas was loyal to Imam Hussein, make us loyal to Imam Zaman. Make us be a good, inshallah, helper and aider for him. Allah, bring back our 12th Imam. Take us out of the state of being a yatim, an orphan of the family from the family of the Prophet. Reappear the Mahdi, inshallah. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين